Hello there, I'm Nigel Mill, and I'm very tired. Today I'm very tired, so this review video will be the only thing that I do today. I was planning to continue other games, but no, I'm too tired. And I set myself up in this recording space, and no, my tiredness is winning. Anyways, welcome to my Resident Evil 4 Remake review. I have finished the game a while ago. I have finished the game again, and then I finished the game again. No. Yes, I finished the game after I finished the game, and then I got my first hardcore S rank. I completed the game in under 5 hours and 30 minutes, and that was a chaotic moment. But, you know, I'm slowly working my way to professional, and I'm slowly working my way to getting the S plus ranks, which are gonna be very hard to do, or maybe not, depending on what areas I can smartly skip and all of that stuff. But yeah, this is going to be the review of my experience from the game. By the way, major spoilers ahead. If you do not want to be spoiled, go at the timestamp that I have said right here or right there. It's on the screen somewhere. So if you want a non-spoiler, then whatever is on the screen, I think this is the right way, is going to be the part where I tell you something out of 10. You know, my verdict of the video game Resident Evil 4 Remake without spoiling things. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go to that timestamp on the video. I made a video before also on Resident Evil 4 Remake notes and expectations. It looks like this at the thumbnail, and I also made Resident Evil 4 Remake notes and expectations result, which the thumbnail looks like this. So in the result video, at least, I did kind of hint at what the score of the game. You know, you can watch that video if you like, but there are major spoilers in it also. The first one, the notes and expectations, plain, the non-result one, that one doesn't contain the remake spoilers, but it does contain some spoilers from the original because, well, it's expectations of some things, because I already played the original and it's one of my most favorite games. So if you don't want to watch more videos, then go to those. Maybe you'll enjoy. Anyways, I am going to start the review, and as you know, my categories for my reviews is at the end of everything, I give a number out of 10. That means 10 is the maximum number. If it reaches the number 10, if it's a 10 out of 10, then it's a masterpiece, amazing, you must play it kind of game. And 1 out of 10 is the worst thing, or 0 out of 10 actually is the worst thing that you can play, and I wouldn't recommend playing it. So that's my rating system. And 5 is an average game, you know, just normal. If you have the money to have a new experience of a game, then have it, but I recommend it at a discount. You know, that's the average score, and then, you know, that's the score rating. So 0 is a catastrophe, and then 5 is average, and then 10 in my mind, in my scale, is a masterpiece, a must-play title. And in this review, I categorize things in 4 areas on this review. It's the good things that this game has done, in my opinion. Of course, everything in this video is an opinion, okay? I don't want anybody attacking me. I don't want anybody attacking others in the comment section below, because as we all know, reviews are completely subjective. And if you want to add to my criticism, or if you want to challenge to my criticism, then do so. But no hating whatsoever. You know, you will be banned if I catch you being an asshole. So, yeah. Well, not a lot of people see me, but that's not the point. If you're an asshole, I will do my appropriate measures, because there is no place for haters in my channel. Anyways, you know, like I said, you can challenge my criticism, you can add to my criticism, you can debate my criticism with others or with me. That's completely fine. But completely hating? No. Fuck off if you're one of those. Anyways, my 4 areas on the review is the good things that the game has done, in my opinion. The bad things that the game has done, in my opinion. The are the weird points that I realized the game had or didn't have. And the 10 mark. If the game was less number than 10, then that would be points that I would consider, if it did include it or add it in the game later, would elevate that number to a 10, in my opinion. Or well, there are some games that even with the 10 mark of my, you know, I've done reviews before, and I didn't put enough 10 marks on things to really have enough there to elevate the thing to a 10 out of 10, but now I will correct myself, and, you know, in the 10 mark area, I would put every thought that I think it might be possible for the game to elevate it to a 10 out of 10. So yes, if, you know, in the 10 mark area, it's things that would elevate it. The score, it would elevate. So, but keep in mind that in the 10 mark, there are many points, but it's more, in my mind, it's more like if you add this thing, then it would be 1 point more, or if you add that thing, then it would be 0.5 points more, or if you add those 2 things, then it would total to 0.7 of the increase. But in my grade of a number out of 10, there is no halvesies. You know, there is no decimals. I do a solid number, and if that decimal elevates the number to a whole number, then you know, let's say a 5 would increase to a 6, for example. but I don't round up. If it has 0.6 on it, I do not round up from a 5 to 6. It has to be a whole number. But you don't see, that's complicated. You don't need to know about that. You know, you're just here for it to have a lot of fun. Anyways, yes, or in the 10 mark, if the game was a 10 out of 10, then it would be things that I think that it would make it better. You know, it's already a 10 out of 10 if, you know, if the game is a 10 out of 10, but I still put, you know, notes in it if, you know, I notice something that would just make the game even better. So yes. Anyways, without further ado, let us get started because I am tired. I want this to be a quick video, even though that's a false hope of mine always. I always want to do a smaller video, but I end up making it an hour or long or 2 hours long, all that stuff. Anyways, let's go. So the first category is the good. These are the more symbols it has, the more it impacted me to think it was very, very good or very, very bad. Just for your information. And the and the 10 mark do not have multiple, you know, symbols, but the good and the bad does. I'll show you. So, the first thing in the good, the lighting, the shadows, they're all so masterfully done. It's the RE engine, baby. It's the RE engine. It's pretty powerful. Options menu offer destructible objects, dismemberments, HUD color change, laser sight color change, and many other quality of life features. I was pretty surprised what the option menu, well, offered. You can parry attacks with your knife! You can even parry a goddamn chainsaw! You can also parry flying hatchet, crossbow bolts, and even molotovs. Parry everything, my friends! Well, not everything, but, you know, keep parrying and someday you will become a parry god. Like me? No, not like me. Still have a long way to go. Doing a perfect parry allows for a special attack that rewards you by staggering your attacker so you can kick him blind. You can pick up eggs and throw them. Highly ineffective weapon, but it is unexpected and distracting. Plus, if you throw an egg at Ashley, she will say, "Ugh, really?" Or, what? A pretty fun detail. You can also throw eggs at the merchant and Lucera too. Animations are so good. Very well made. Oh, I almost forgot. It's slick, smooth, and sexy. There, I got my 3 S's out. Like the original, once you hit a specific body part on enemies a certain amount of times, they'll stagger and become open to kicks, roundhouse kicks, and suplexes. Sometimes they'll also be stabbable, offering a quick execution if they are either slumped or on the ground. The only thing different in this remake is that most of the time you need multiple attacks to stagger an enemy, while in the original only one attack was necessary to stagger at least normal enemies. Shooting galleries are vastly improved from the original. The only problem that I have is that the targets are replaced with pirates and sailors, and I liked the old targets better that included Ashley and the Ganados. Also, if you are together with Ashley, she will sit on a nearby barrel and comment on your performance. She cheers for you when you do good and tells you when you've done something bad. The same happens if you're traveling with Luis. He will lean on a barrel that Ashley sits on instead and has his own dialogue depending on your shooting performance. That was one of the cutest animations I've seen in the game when Ashley sits on that barrel. She looks like the image from a booklet that came out a long time ago when I bought it on the GameCube or on the Wii. But she sits on a barrel. That's pretty dang cute. When you acquire tokens from the shooting gallery, you are able to slot them in a gacha machine that give you little charms with their own set of perks to help you on your journey. You can attach a maximum of 3 charms to your briefcase. You know, they offer passive perks like more health when you use a green herb, or 5% less upgrades on upgrading your weapons at the merchant, etc., etc. Your type of briefcase also has a perk system in it that will help you like the charms do. Example, the normal briefcase will give more frequency of handgun ammo, and the golden briefcase will give you more frequency of finding more pesetas. Cows can attack you. I was surprised by that. One of my episodes, I think it's the second episode or the third episode. I don't know. I don't remember. This is a major plus. The first major plus that I will talk about. It's the first major plus, right? Yep. It is the first major plus. The first village onslaught was done wonderfully. Of course, you spend most of the time running away on your first playthrough, but once you're in the New Game Plus, those ganados better watch out. So, the whole sequence where the policeman is burning in a bonfire, and then you got a whole bunch of ganados in the village. You go to a house, Leon locks it up or bars it, and that chainsaw will appear, and Dr. Salvador will appear, and all that stuff. And then you better watch out for that one. And then when the bell rings, it's over. That section was done. The merchant is back, and he now offers sales, depending on the chapter you are playing in. The merchant might have a sweet deal for you in the shop. This could include a 30% pesetas discount on certain items, or a 2-for-1 deal, which means if you buy a specific item, he'll give you another item for free. Pretty hard to pass up on deals like these on your first playthrough, and I know, I have an entire episode dedicated to me struggling what to buy in one of my bonus episodes, which is not out yet, but it will be a 0.5 kind of episode, something that is not necessary for the plot. Alright. Movement is improved in this remake version. Yes, very much improved. And because of the improved movement on Leon, enemies also had an upgrade to their movements, making them a lot more dangerous and a lot faster than in the original game. Watch out for their flanking maneuvers, they have pretty good AI. Another major plus is combat is deep, smooth, and enjoyable. Trust me, I wouldn't be playing a Resident Evil game if it didn't have good combat. Remake offers a lot of weapons to choose from. It's already amazing that they included most of the weapons available of the original, except the PRL 412 and Incendiary Grenade. They are not there. But they also add more weapons of their own, like the LE5, the CQBR, the Heavy Grenade, the Fighting Kitchen Boot, and Primal Knives. That's what they add. They added new to the weapons in the game. This game surprised me with their new and improved treasure system. Aside from the originals combining of treasure items, now you have a new treasure slot combination system. Now you're able to attach, remove, combine different colors, or combine same colors on a slottable treasure item. And depending on the colors and the rarity of these gems that can be slotted in the treasures, it will make them a lot more valuable. Example, a flagon with 2 available slots can attach a red, blue, or yellow gem in it. If you attach 2 red gems, the treasure will only be worth 10,000 pesetas. But if you attach 2 yellow gems instead, the yellow gems are more valuable. When slotted in the flagon, it'll be worth 20,000 pesetas instead. This system also has a poker style combination. When the 2 of a kind, 2 of the same color gems will give you a valuable bonus of times 1.1. But the value, the normal value that you would get, and then that multiplication value adds more value to the treasure. But if you have a full deck, which is having all gems in the treasure being different colors, will give you a treasure of whopping times 2 bonus of value. I know my explanation sucks, but you gotta try it yourself when you play the game. The only treasure that I have seen that has all slots, which are 5, is the crown. You can put a red gem, blue gem, yellow gem, purple gem, and green gem. Put those, all of them together in the crown, and it's worth 100,000 pesetas. Probably the most valuable treasure item in the entire game. Alright. Only glitch or bug I've encountered is when some enemies die, the ragdolls will freak out and twitch like crazy on the screen. But that only happened to me once. The game is very, very polished. I'm very surprised about it. That's why I put it on the good. Added sneak mechanics to the remake. Something that wasn't in the original. They added a sneak mechanic. I love sneaking games. I love when they're done right. So I love it. Smooth frames and a stable experience throughout. This is how you do a PC version of the game. Other devs, this is how you do it. But to be fair, this game is very closed off in its environment and area, so there's not much stress put on the PC compared to, let's say, an open world expansive game, but still, smooth experience. This is how you do a PC port. This is how you do a PC game. Make it smooth, make it non-glitchy, make it stable. I was actually very, very, very surprised because Village did give me problems, and Resident Evil Village crashed on me multiple times in my playthrough. So, and it staggered my frames. Sometimes it was 30, sometimes it was 60, sometimes it was 50. So, I did not notice that in this game. And I was recording on the same system that I was playing in. So, very, very, very good on you, Cap. This is how you do a freaking PC game. There's a pretty surprising amount of models from enemies. A lot of them will look different from each other. I'm talking about humanoid enemies like ganados, zealots, and soldiers. Many of the items in the game, like Red Hawk handgun ammo boxes and treasures, like the antique pipe, are a perfect reimagination of these items put into the remake. They look identical to the original, but obviously with better graphics and meshes, making me feel very nostalgic. Ooh, what are you buying? What are you selling? Not enough cash, stranger. It's there. Items dropped by enemies don't disappear after a short while like in the original. This time they stay even if you go to a completely different part of the area. They do disappear if you go too far though, but the majority of the time items won't disappear in a minute like in the original. That gives you more time to, you know, come back after you've killed an enemy. You can come back. You know, you don't need to be on top of their body like in the original right after you kill them. Aside from the original's blue medallion minigame, there's also blue notes in the form of requests. Yes, that means these blue notes offer side quests with their own spinel rewards. A completely overhauled system from the past that offers a lot more than in the original. Use these spinels as a second currency to trade special items from the merchant. Don't worry, you'll get to destroy many blue medallions on your journey. Plagas enemies are done wonderfully well in this remake. When their heads pop and they don't go down, you've got another problem on your hands. And it can be quite challenging to take them down depending on the situation, making the game more unpredictable. Sometimes when these enemies fall to the floor, they'll start to convulse. That means they can turn into Plagas enemies. At this point, if you were an attentive player, you can execute them with your knife to prevent them from reviving and becoming a tougher enemy to deal with. Shooting enemies with high-powered weapons like mine bolts, with the bolt thrower, with the attaché mines, shotguns, or magnums will sometimes dismember enemies' arms, legs, or completely blow off their torso, splitting them apart. You can also explode nearby red barrels or dynamite to tear apart enemies also. The gore is pretty cool. The new and reimagined environments and areas that the game has are awesome. They look good and they are pleasing to the eye when combined with its lighting system. Sometimes, Ashley will do a little fist pump whenever you hit a specific enemy in the head. That was pretty kawaii. You know, she's on your back, you shoot something, she does this. Pretty cool. This does not happen enough though. Tap. Perhaps increase the frequency of this happening, or maybe just don't do anything because a modder will probably make that into a mod instead. So a modder is probably on its way to do it. So don't worry about it, Capcom. Other people will fix the game for you. Well, that's kind of rude of me, right? Fix the game for you when it's a plus. Well, make the experience better for me. I corrected myself. Not fix the game for you, because it is a good feature to have Ashley go like this. But I want my experience to be more of that. That's what I'm saying. So, with the help of mods, I can. Music and soundtracks, except for the save theme, are great to meh. They are very similar to the original at times, and on others the music it provides sounds good. But if you don't like it, I guess you can get the OG soundtrack inserted into the game. But it is locked behind a microtransaction for $3. That's the catch. Ooh. When I was doing my let us see the micros video that I made before doing the notes and expectations video, I think. Yeah. Thank goodness that it's only $3. It's not anything like $10 or anything outrageous like that. Right? At the very least. So, yep. Some people may not like this, but I like the new knife mechanic, where it can break or be repaired and be upgraded to increase its damage and durability. I think compared to Resident Evil 2 Remake, where if you use your knife to escape a zombie, it'll get lodged and stuck in that zombie until you can kill it and retrieve a more damaged knife from them. In this game though, Leon doesn't leave the knife stuck in the enemy. Instead, it'll lose durability when you escape from a grab attack or just use the knife to attack or parry. In my opinion, compared to Resident Evil 2 Remake, knife system and this one, I like this one better because it gives the knife a lot more of a role in the game instead of just using it for escaping a grab attack, and it can be repaired and improved at the merchant. Some of them also, well, all of the main knives have exclusive skills too, so watch out for that. Also accompanied with knife durability is the bulletproof tactical vest with its own durability. It will reduce damage you take once you buy it, and it will alter Leon's appearance. But you gotta maintain and repair it when you get hit, just like when your combat knife loses durability when hitting or parrying. Game added shortcuts just in case you're a speedrunner or want to complete a game with S or S plus rank. For example, you can shoot the church bell at the village so you can skip all that fracas. You can also shoot or blow up the anti-air gun that is shooting at Mike so you get this amazing air support, and he shoots the locked gate a lot sooner, and many other shortcuts are available. Test them out, be creative, and perhaps you'll discover one of these shortcuts for yourself. While they did remove amazing and fun areas from the original, like the gondola ride with Ashley, like the running away from Ramon Salazar statue, and etc., they did add some other amazing and fun areas of their own in the remake, so I let it slide. Fun boss battles, yet sometimes unfair hitboxes, but that just might be my inexperience with these bosses. But sometimes I felt like there was no way I could avoid that even if I tried. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just felt like that. Luis Serra tags along with you just like Ashley tags along with Leon, but now your new Ashley has a red 9 and can kick enemies all the while making some light-hearted jokes here and there. Love this part of the game. Plus, this is also the part where you get the minecart ride scene. Oh boy, that was so much fun. Luis then surprisingly tags along for quite a while, even facing 2 gigantes with him and a whole nest of novistadores. Dores. There you go, I fixed it on my notes. I completely loved when Luis was around, but unfortunately, the reason why this is not a major plus is Leon was the problem. As always. I will talk about that later. Next is a major plus. Game length is pretty extensive with many action-packed areas to keep you entertained throughout the campaign. I did not feel like any moment of the story was boring. I mean, of the game was boring. That's impressive. Ashley's solo playthrough was pretty nice, but in my opinion, I wanted a more horror-centric sequence instead of a full-blown chase sequence from the Armaduras. But her playthrough was still done well. Instead of a QTE knife boss fight with Krauser, you take full control of the character and is able, I'm gonna fix that, and is able to just play normally as you've always played before, before this fight. I'm fixing my notes, forgive me for that. Testing your knowledge of your knife skills. If you didn't learn it throughout the game, well, you're either screwed or you're forced to learn how to fight and parry with a knife. Sometimes the game opens up areas so you can roam around, and at some points you'll encounter locked containers that require an item that you'll be getting later. This gives you a reason to backtrack, and it's usually fruitful because most of these locked items are treasures. Of course, if you backtrack, sometimes there will be some new enemies just waiting for you in that area that you want to go. So, whether it's worth it or not depends on your skills. As a quick tip, sometimes when progressing the game and you visit the merchant, he'll say something like, "Better take care of any unfinished business before proceeding, stranger." This is a sign that some areas will be locked off if you advance the game. When he says this, it's very wise to finish all your previously unfinished business, like completing Blue Note requests or opening previously locked treasure boxes, because when you advance to a certain point, all the things will be unable to be completed or unlocked until you go through a new playthrough. I like the additional dialogue characters have when they either are inspecting something or reach a certain part of the game. Example, when you defeat your first Garrador and come back with Ashley on that room, you'll get a new unique conversation with her and Leon. Really like that part. Like recent Resident Evil entries, now you've got a bunch of unlockable items after you finished the game a certain way. These unlockables are either concept arts, 3D display models, cosmetic accessories like sunglasses, accessories with perks like infinite ammo cat ears. Yes, the cat ears give you infinite ammo. Alternate costumes like Leon's mafia outfit, and bonus weapons like the hand cannon. So, if you're worried about unlockables, well, don't, because this game provides you with a lot of replayability. Something I cannot say about when the Callisto Protocol was released. I mean, yes, unlockables. And the final plus that I will mention on the good side is professional mode. I wanted professional mode, you know, make it hard for me, make it hurt. Yes, punish me, Resident Evil, for my wrongdoings. I'm a masochist, if you didn't know. No, I'm not, but, you know. In games, sure. I'm whatever I want to be if I want more difficult playthroughs. Holy hell, it's already been 30 or 40 minutes. Well, this is going bad. I wanted to make a short video review, but here you have it. My unadulterated, unfiltered opinions. Okay, that was all from the good. Now, I am going to mention the bad, and hold on to your horses because I have some very, very, very strong opinions on the bad. So, if you're offended by a bird flying over you in your, I don't know, outdoor birthday party, and then don't watch this section of the bad if you're offended by that. Get a small thing, because, well, my opinions are pretty hard on this one, but come on, it's just an opinion, you know? So, if you're offended by an opinion, don't even come here. Don't even use YouTube. Don't even use the internet if you're easily offended. But, anyways, the bad. I will start. And this is my first. I will start very rough on the first, the bad. This is my very first 4 minuses. A critical failure, I call it. A critical failure. This one bogged down the score by a lot, in my opinion. And this critical failure is almost all major characters suck. The only 5 that don't is Ingrid Hunnigan, The Merchant, Vitores Mendes, Mike, and to an extent, Luis Serra. Let me go through them one by one and give a small example for each of them, since I'll be speaking more in detail later. So this critical failure part has many points. It's more detailed and extended than any of my other usual points, because I want to make my point clear on this one. 1. Leon is not Leon anymore. He's a broody and a huge asshole. 2. Ashley does not have her bubbly, high-spirited personality anymore. And that jacket she has? Ugh, horrible. 3. Ada loses her flirty, seductive, and mysterious mystique/behavior and changes into a gigantic bitch. Bitch with a horrible voice to boot. No offense to the voice actress voicing Ada, but Suga, you're not even close to sounding like her. 4. Luis Serra is fine once he gets to actually do anything in his character without being pushed around by Leon, but I've gotta say, he does not have his famous ballistics joke anymore. Why? Because Capcom thought it offensive to women. I mean, that's why this version of Ashley is not bouncy or voluptuous like the original one, right? So why make the ballistics joke if there are no ballistics, I say? Anyways, moral of the story is, leave Luis alone, Leon, you asshole. They made Luis fatter though. In the original, he was more built and sexier. 5. Ingrid Hunnigan, while we don't see much of her, she's still the same strict gal I fell in love with in the original. My only complaint is she's all work and no fun kind of gal this time around. But in my opinion, it's the fault of the mood this game that was heading towards. More serious, less friendly / funny kind of mood. 6. Vitores Mendes, or the village chief, is completely in the realms of his character from before. Very well done. By the way, not all the things in the critical failure are bad, but most of them are. Anyways, Ramon Salazar is a complete makeover of the character, both metaphorically and physically. No longer do we have the evil midget that laughed like a maniac while also taunting Leon throughout the castle, constantly communicating with him to get on his nerves. Instead, he's more of a straight-to-the-point, no-nonsense kind of Salazar. Like I said, this remake went with a more serious and darker outlook. That's something that I did not like from the game that was heading towards. 8. The merchant, while not having the same famous accent to his voice, is completely fine with me when he offers a lot more lines for him to say. 9. Jack Krauser has this new mentor ex-teacher rom-com with Leon, and it goes hard on this plot, which wasn't in the original. Krauser is still talkative as before, but dang, that voice of his, he's so much more different. I am not fully used to his tone, but something breaks the lore is, wasn't Ada supposed to be the one to kill this guy? Why did they change this so that Leon kills him? With no separate ways mode, we'll never know if he revives from Leon's fire and he gets beaten by Ada later. Since there is no separate ways, who knows what happened to Jack Krauser? But yeah, if Leon was the one to finish him, then they changed that from the lore. Mike, that 10. Mike is back and has a wild Texan cowboy accent now, which is awesome by all means. He supports Leon just like before and is a force to be reckoned with. Some quotes from Leon were taken away by Mike, but hey, who cares about this version of Leon anyways, right? 11. Osmond Saddler is a completely new version from top to bottom. This Saddler has an enormous hard-on for his beliefs on his made-up religion. He actually believes the bullcrap that he is spewing. His voice and demeanor also changes. Instead of having the easygoing and relaxed demeanor, he now goes hard on reciting biblical speeches and speaks in symbolism most of the time. Obvious to say, this is not what he was before. In the original, he did believe in his religious speeches, yes, but not to the extent of the point where he himself is completely convinced that his religion is nothing more than a brainwashing tool to be used. He doesn't go full house believing that he himself is like the second coming or a prophet that were in the old Bible. This version of Sattler is completely different, but give it some time and I might get accustomed, but not like it better than the old Sattler. And the last point of the critical failure is 12. Albert Wesker is still as ambitious as ever, but there's no uniqueness or flair to his voice anymore. It just sounds, well, like a normal everyday Joe. He doesn't have that ominous evil dude tone that he had in the original. So that whole section was one the bad point, and it was a critical failure, and I needed to explain it in detail why it's a critical failure. It's because none of the most of the characters in this game I either hate or are completely different and I don't like, because they changed them in this remake. They completely rewrote the script that was in front of them, right? All they needed to do was take notes from their 2005 games and recreate it so that everybody is happy. But no, I am not a happy camper because I found it a critical failure. Like I said in one of my episodes, probably the last episode of my gameplay, if I don't give a shit about the characters, then I will not give a shit about the story. And that is a domino effect. If I don't care about the characters, I don't care about their arcs, I don't care about their jokes, I don't care about their demeanor, their personalities, and then the story, I don't care if it breaks story, because I'm just like, ugh, I'll just skip the cutscene and whatever, and my next playthrough, I'll never remember it for being a faithful story from the original and blah 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 blah, right? If you don't get your characters right, everything else goes wrong. Because you cannot tell a good story without good characters. It's as simple as that. So, because people might argue this, that you can have good characters in a horrible story. Yes, that might be true, but understand that characters are part of the story, so if part of the story sucks, you still have that part where the story is good because of the characters that are good. So you can look at it at that point too, right? So anyways, let us continue with the bad. That was the only critical failure. But, let's continue. The amount of censorship in this game is painfully obvious and on full display. Censoring female characters' looks, censoring jokes, censoring quotes, censoring cutscenes, censoring dialogue lines. Everything in this game was watered down to the extreme, especially when you've already played the original masterpiece and compare it to the remake, like you should. And this is very important. There is no such thing as judging it by its own. If it's already adapting from a previous game, if you've played the original, you need to compare it. So I don't need anyone to say that, oh, this is a remake, this is supposed to be its own thing, give them a break and all that. You're comparing way too much between the original and the remake. I don't want to hear any of that, because it is a remake. It is supposed to be a reimagining of an already made product, of an already made story. So if you say any of that I shouldn't compare it too much to the original, then you are completely wrong. If you have played the original and you don't have any output from the original to put into this one, then fine. You can just be, just play this remake and never played the original, and that's it. You don't have a second opinion. But if you have played the original, you need to compare this one to it. Simple as that. There is no such thing as judge it by its own, because it is not a new Resident Evil. It is a remake of something that was made already before. So, yeah, it cannot be judged by its own. Alright. Puns are mostly removed from the game to favor a more serious atmosphere instead. It feels like there is no romance, no spark, no interest coming from Leon and Ada. Both of them act like they never had an attraction to each other at all. Leon mentioned he has, but they sure don't act like it. Alright. This is a major minus. Do not like this version of Leon compared to the original one. He does have jokes, he's still agile, he's still an amazing fighter, but again, his personality is changed for the worse in my opinion. He does have jokes, but with the cheesy puns are gone. And when he does try an attempt at a joke, his demeanor is so incompatible with his silly side that all his jokes don't feel genuine from the character. It feels like his jokes are forced upon him because Cap knew making this version of Leon without the silly side would disconnect original fans from the character. But this version of Leon is more broody and serious. That means any joke he makes do not fit his character anymore. The best way to describe Leon in my mind is a broody, angsty teenager instead of a cool, jokey, friendly, cheesy, experienced agent. That was the biggest slap in the face of this game. I hated Leon in this one. Hated. He's a complete and total broody asshole. He does have his badass moments. Like I said, he has the agility, still an amazing fighter. Some of the jokes do land, but majority of them don't because of his demeanor and personality. So that was one thing that I really hated about this remake. It was Leon, which is the protagonist of the freaking story. That's bad. So, anyways, le continue. Ramon Salazar is not as eccentric and annoying as before. He looks horrible and has a completely different, unlikable personality. Leon and Luis's relationship started horrible, with Leon trying to be a naggy mom that told him that cigarettes will kill you. I mean, no shit, Sherlock. Luis is an adult already, Leon. Of course he knows what cigarettes do. Mind your own business. And after they got caught together, Leon also threatened Luis to tell him what he knows about the president's daughter. This relationship was done in the most hostile way possible in the remake, and it made me mad. Now Luis is hated by both Leon and Ashley, I guess. But it was Leon who fucked up their possible friendship when he threatened Luis, and Leon occasionally telling Luis to shut up or tell Luis how much he annoys Leon. This whole relationship between these two is completely different and is unnecessarily hostile to each other. In the original, if you don't remember, they hit it off well when they met, no threats involved, and they actually thought each other as friends.
Okay, I have only one very important question. You got a smoke?
Got gum.
Small world, eh? Well, I see that the president's equipped his daughter with ballistics, too.
How rude! And I don't believe there's any relevance with my figure and my standing. Who are you?
Oh, excuse me, Your Highness. Perhaps the young lady might want to introduce herself first before asking someone his name.
Her name's Ashley Graham, the president's daughter.
Is she... well, you know.
Don't worry. She's cool.
Never mind. There's supposed to be some kind of obvious symptom before you turn into one of them anyway.
Look!
Ashley, upstairs!
Okay, it's game time.
Throughout the entirety of the remake, Leon never, ever made an attempt to like the guy. He never made an attempt to be as, close as friends. While in the original, they joked together, they complimented each other, and they helped each other. So, I'm very mad about this one. When Leon met Ada at the garden, why did he ask who she was working for? Doesn't Leon already know? In the original, he said Wesker. So why doesn't this Leon know? Are we doing some lore breaking now, Cap? And yes, I was correct in that because they broke other stuff too, from the lore. There is head explosions, and when you get a killing headshot blow, some of the time the enemies' heads will explode, but it is not enough. In the original, if you constantly hit the head on normal enemies, 99% of the time their heads will go pop, But while the frequency of head explosions in this game happens more than in Resident Evil 3 Remake and Resident Evil Village, it is still not enough. In the original, you almost always got a satisfying. Unfortunately, in this game is just sometimes, depending on the weapon. Not rarely, but sometimes. Removed many parts of the castle area, like the room where you get surrounded by zealots with sights, crossbows and rocket launchers, and the whole scene when you run away from a giant Ramon Salazar statue. They also have removed multiple areas in both the village and the island area too. If you've noticed, well, you noticed that they removed quite a bit. But they added then more areas, which I mentioned in the plus part, in the good part. This is just the other part that I didn't like. 2 weapons are locked from the game behind microtransactions. They are the Sentinel-9 handgun and the Skull Shaker shotgun, both of which can be bought for $2. $2 each. Did I say $2? Anyways. It is obvious to say this should have already been included in the base game, since it is a real premium game feature that drastically changes your gameplay. If it was $5 or above, I would call this overpriced and greedy. But for as low as $2, well, I say, if you played for a while and liked the game, sure, why not? Go ahead and buy them if you're interested. You don't need them, but I think that these micros are like a tip to Capcom. You're essentially tipping them and getting a gun in return. But again, if this was $5 or more, hell no! I would hate on this a whole lot more. Luis is less aloof, easygoing Spaniard this time around, but hell, like I said before, you'd also be cautious and wary when Leon threatens you on your first meeting. No ballistics joke from Luis. Oh well. Safe theme music is done worse, in my opinion. This is a major minus. Treasure map expansion microtransaction unlocks additional treasures that is normally locked off from the main game. Needless to say, this is bad. It either should already be in the base game, sold by the merchant, or completely removed as a purchasable option. And the treasure map is worth $4. Twice as much as the Sentinel-9 or the Skull Shaker. Wow. And it's not even a vastly improved thing that you add into your game compared to the Sentinel-9 or the Skull Shaker, yet it is twice as much expensive. Wow. That's why it's a major minus. On a third-person action game, it is sacrilege that this game does not have shoulder swap. Every third-person action game should have it, especially if there's sneak or cover mechanics implemented. Every single third-person action game or shooter game or sneaking game needs a shoulder swap. Period. Every single one of them. Removed El Gigante optional route, the one where you get to choose between the Chainsaw Sisters route or a Gigante route. They removed that. One of the things that they removed. Famous Leon quote, "Women," is gone from the game, replaced with "Story of my life," even though he said the exact line before multiple times already.
Story of my life.
some business to take care of. See you later.
Women.
I don't know why they removed that joke. Maybe because it's offensive to women, or it's demeaning to women, as Capcom would phrase it. Probably. Well, you pissed off the fans. Congratulations, Capcom, for doing that. Anyways, next. Some of the original Resident Evil 4's hidden slash optional scenes are removed or mixed into the main story's cutscenes. Example. In the original, when you enter the village chief's house, he subdued Leon but walks away. Walks away out of the hallway and goes into a room you've explored previously. If you go back to that room, you'll have a completely optional and hidden cutscene that shows Leon fighting the chief once more, only to be subdued again by the chief. At this point, a mysterious sexiness shows up for a second and shoots the chief through the window, therefore saving Leon. All of this is completely missable, but it feels good when you find this hidden scene. Unfortunately, in the remake, this is all mixed. Both the main scene from the original and the hidden Ada scene. You just took away my satisfaction of discovering a hidden cutscene. Another example is when Leon goes past the church he's supposed to go, but then you get a call from Hunnigan and tells you,
Leon, have you reached the church yet?
Well, yeah. Sort of.
Leon, did I mention not to take the scenic route? At any rate, Ashley's probably inside that structure. Rescue her, hurry!
forcing you to go to the church first like you were supposed to do. Their conversation is pretty funny too, but this remake completely removes this scene. Removed the cutscene where Leon loses control and tries to choke Ada, but Ada, the sexy smart vixen she is, or was, stabs Leon in the thigh and then knees him in the ballsack. Completely removed cutscene. This one hurt. Garbage jumping cutscene with Ashley has been removed. This one hurt because it was so funny. It was the one where Leon says, looks like this is it. And Ashley says, ugh, it stinks. And Leon says, sure does. No way, Leon. Way. And grabs her hand. And, it goes down. And both land safely on top of the garbage. Then Ashley says, are you out of your mind? And Leon says, I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt. Oh, you!
Looks like this is it.
Ugh, it stinks.
Sure does.
No way, Leon.
Way.
Are you out of your mind?
I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt.
You...
That was pretty damn funny. But, unfortunately, the game removes it. Alright, completely removed U3 boss fight and his underground area. Many people do not like the U3 boss, but come on. It's in the original, it should be there, right? In the remake, but whatever. It's been completely removed. Ada's
Smoke?
voice sounds
I do.
much
The kind you like.
much
Now
older.
where's the amber?
Her voice is not
Fortunately, it's
smooth
not
like
Johnny at the
before,
moment.
and her tone
And you
is
really should be
non-flirty
telling
slash seductive,
good job I
like
did.
she was in the original.
Busted my ass and
Do not like
died
Ada's
right
voice.
before I got caught. Which is why I'm still alive.
The deal was, we get you out of here when you deliver the amber. No amber, no protection, Luis.
Removed gondola ride with Ashley. This game uses code names like Condor 1, Roost, Baby Eagle, etc., etc., which compared to the original sounds distant and just all wrong. Just use your fucking names. It's much more friendly in the original when they called themselves by their names, like Leon, Hunnigan, and Ashley. But instead we got codenames. Who are they trying to fool here? Everyone in there knows why you're there, geniuses. There's no need to use codenames. In the original, it sounds better when they didn't use these stupid codenames, and it felt like Leon and Hunnigan actually had a blooming friendship forming by even joking with each other at times in these calls, but in this game it is removed, making Leon and Hunnigan's friendship feel very disconnected, distant, and only to a professional level, not as friends. That also made me mad about the change. At the ending, why did Ada openly betray Wesker? Why? Didn't Ada give Wesker a type of plagas to him? Maybe not the plagas Wesker wanted, but Ada didn't blow her cover like that in the original. That's why you've got Resident Evil 5 with plagas enemies everywhere. So why the change on the lore on this one? If Wesker didn't get the plaga sample because Ada suddenly grew a conscious, then there wouldn't have been plagas enemies in Resident Evil 5. So what help me understand this. This is so confusing. Why did they change that to be so confusing? It doesn't make sense because now on Resident Evil 5 there will be no plagas enemies unless Wesker steals the plaga sample from Ada. Because that's the only sample, because everything in the island from the Resident Evil 5 island was blown up, destroyed, disintegrated. So how does how does Wesker get his henchmen the plagas now? How? Next. Ashley's, how about we do some overtime? Line is not there at the ending. Instead, replacing it with a very toned down quote that is not as memorable or as iconic.
Mission accomplished, right?
Mission accomplished. When you're home safe.
Thank you for saving me.
Don't mention it.
You know, I could put in a word with my dad. Have you assigned to my detail, if you're interested.
You don't need me. You proved you could handle yourself. Even if you could use a lesson in knife safety. Come on. Let's go home.
Ashley! Ashley! Where are you?
Leon!
Come on. Let's go home.
Sounds like a great idea. Mission accomplished. Right, Leon?
Not quite. I still have to get you home safe.
So, after you take me back to my place, how about we do some, overtime?
Sorry.
Somehow I knew you'd say that, but it doesn't hurt to ask, you know? So, who was that woman anyway?
Why do you ask?
Come on, tell me.
She's like a part of me I can't let go. Let's leave it at that.
Capcom fucking shied away from that one hard. There is no ganado cursing like cabrón, mierda, a joder, etc. etc. Instead, they murmur and recite biblical quotes and sentences. Ashley's attire is atrocious. She has a horrible looking orange jacket, something that appears to be panther leggings, and instead of a skirt, she has shorts. Do any of these combinations look good or make a sense? Maybe, but not for Ashley. She looks horrible in them. Albert Wesker's voice is not better than the original's voice actor. He just sounds like a normal Joe. Nothing too distinctive.
Excellent.
Just one question. What are you planning to do with this?
I do not pay you to ask questions. All you need to know is a new dawn is breaking. 100 will give their lives so that just one may live. I am expediting that change.
Luis has succeeded in recovering the sample. He's waiting in the castle. Get in contact with him ASAP.
Understood.
And that US government lapdog, Leon. If you do happen to encounter him, put him out of commission. We can't let him interfere with our plans.
He has no idea what's going on. He's nothing we need to worry about.
He's a survivor of Raccoon City. We can do without the extra distraction. Take him out.
No mercenaries mode, and a major minus is no separate ways mode. How could there not be a separate ways mode? And this is the last this is the last minus on my list. It is because there is no skirt on Ashley. I can't be asked, "Hey, what are you looking at?" Or be called, "Ah, you pervert."
Oh, you pervert! Hey, what are you looking at? Oh, you pervert!
I can't do any of those in this game because, I don't know, censorship, Capcom, not having testicles, all that stuff. You know, demeaning for women, offensive to everyone, and blah 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 blah. They don't want to make their fans happy. They just want to make the most people in the world happy, which is a complete fantasy. You cannot make most of everyone happy, you know, with one single product. You know, there's gonna be haters, there's gonna be doubters, there's gonna be people that don't like it, there's gonna be people that like it, there's gonna be people that love it, there's gonna be people who adore it. So, trying to satisfy everyone does not work well. And this is one of the things that did not work well, especially to your fans that support you to the ends of the earth. Now you have outcasted them and disconnected them by censoring the game and all that stuff. And changing the characters was the biggest mistake of this game, in my opinion. Their personalities, some of their looks, and some of their voices. Completely not who we all know and love. Anyways, that is all for the bad. Now, I am going to move to the These are the weird points that I thought the game had or did not have. So let's go through all of them, shall we? So, the merchant's voice doesn't sound right. Coming from a fan since I've been accustomed to the original's accent. The new merchant doesn't have the flair of his voice anymore, but he does have quotes from the original put into the remake, plus more dialogue lines when you buy, sell, or just browse his shop. One shot to the head or legs do not stagger humanoid enemies anymore. Instead, there is a chance to stagger depending on how many times you hit the head or the legs in a certain period of time. Why can I not put a laser sight in my blacktail? It does have a rail for it. So why? But why? Why? Is it a game balancing thing, or is it an oversight, or is it that Capcom was too lazy to make a laser sight specifically for the blacktail? I mean, which is it? I felt like the lip sync goes haywire in many cutscenes. There's a discrepancy between what characters say and the sync of these characters' mouths when they speak. Sometimes Ashley will stray away from you and leave your side. In the original, she was always behind your back as long as she was following you. But now she can just move around, and sometimes this is useful and handy when Ashley correctly maneuvers around enemies. But sometimes she'll just get caught easily by enemies too. Leon vs Ada fight was done differently. There's no slow motion kick from Ada, but more like a bunch of strikes and kicks in quick succession instead, which I can let it pass since it was pretty cool to watch. But the stupid lore breaking part was that Leon didn't know Ada, who Ada was working for. But in the original he does know. He says Wesker. And after that Ada flashbangs. And I don't mean get naked or something, a real flashbang grenade I mean. And disappeared into the garden. What happened to the other Verdugo that was with Ramon Salazar? Where did it go? Did I miss something? I only saw one Verdugo. I mean, I saw the two Verdugos, but I only have to fight one, and in the boss battle of Ramon Salazar, the other Verdugo completely disappeared. Is Ada going to fight the other Verdugo in separate ways? DLC? I don't know. But for now I don't have the full information of what happened to the other Verdugo. Why name some weapons realistic style like W870 SR M1903 or the SG09R, but leave some weapons with their Resident Evil 4 names like the Punisher, the Blacktail, or the Striker? Just why? Why not be consistent with your naming of weapons? Why do you have to half and half it? Why? It just makes no sense to me. One bullet loaded in chamber adds a +1 to your magazine size if you've reloaded it with at least one bullet remaining. A nice little detail that most games do not use. In reality, when you've got a bullet in the chamber and reload, you don't cock the gun, because you'll be wasting a bullet or a shell. Instead, the game accounts for the chambered bullet / shell, not just bullet. I said shell, and no. There you go, chambered bullet. And Leon, don't cock it depending on the handgun he's using. Emphasis on the handgun. The only inconsistent and bad part of it is it only works for handguns and magnums, of course, but it's a kind of handgun, right? It doesn't work for anything else like the shotguns, rifles, or TMP. You know they also have chambers that bullets / shells can go into, right? So why only make this system available for the handgun and the Killer 7 only? Why? There is no assignment ADA mode. I didn't put it as the good or the bad. I didn't really care about assignment ADA too much. It was very short, so it could have been there, it could have not been there, I wouldn't care. But I put it here just because. And the last one of the there's a quick 180-degree turn, but since movement has been improved enough, I don't think you'll be needing this feature in my opinion. For me, it is better to go full speed while looking at the threat that I'm running from instead of stopping for a second and turn both the character and the camera away from the threat that I need to pay attention to. So, yeah, you know, it was a very good feature in the original because once you turn all the way to look behind you, it's a lot slower than just quick turning. But in this game, you can adjust the camera speed and you can just move back at full speed while still looking forward with the camera. So I don't think the quick turn really is too essential in this game, but you can enable it, you can disable it, you know, try it out. Alright, now I have finished the now it's time for the part. The 10 mark. Yes. First on the 10 mark is bring back the old Resident Evil 4 Leon. That version of Leon is superior, cooler, better looking, and funnier. Actually, do a complete faithful rewrite of Leon, Ashley, Ada, and Ramon Salazar's personality, and I will give some additional points to the score if it's there. Next is, come on, Capcom, at least try to hire voice actors / actresses that fit these characters. Leon Kennedy, Ashley Graham, Ramon Salazar, Jack Krauser, Ada Wong, Osmond Sadler, Albert Wesker are far from sounding right, especially Ada. But none of these sound even close to the amazing original's voices, tone, demeanor, or personality. This remake pales in comparison. The next is bring back the fan favorite cut content features, jokes, dialogues, and cutscenes. Few examples include ballistics just from Luis, garbage fall scene with Leon and Ashley, radio conversations / taunts with Ramon, Salazar, and Sadler, giant Salazar statue running sequence, overtime quote from Ashley, etc, etc, etc. The mood of the game turned a lot more serious and darker than before. Therefore, the jokes you wanted or the dialogues you wanted are completely gone. Design the world around the characters to be a much less serious mood of the story so that they can shine with their humor and easygoing side of their personalities. But don't mix them both, because it will be a mismatch of situations and atmosphere of the game if you've kept both. So decide, Capcom, make your own inferior Resident Evil Zack Snyder's universe-esque world, or please your fans by bringing back the amazing atmosphere and balance of the original game. Oh, you went with your own inferior world. Well, fuck. Next, Get rid of the freaking code names. Bring back Ingrid Hunnigan's conversations, like teaching you how to play with the fourth wall, breaking player manual, bringing back the hidden church conversation when Leon goes past the church instead of going to it, and the end credit scene where Leon trying to be all smooth and suave to get Hunnigan's phone number, only to be shut down by Hunnigan for reminding Leon that he's still on duty.
Hunnigan, is that you?
Finally, the line's jack free.
Hey, Hunnigan, no glasses.
Forget the glasses. What's the status of the mission?
I've rescued the subject. We're returning home.
You did it, Leon.
Thanks. You know, you're kind of cute without those glasses. Give me your number when I get back.
May I remind you that you're still on duty.
Story of my life.
Next is at Mercenaries. I don't get why they're piecemealing these content when the game comes out. I fucking hate it. You know, in the past when they came out with the discs, they needed to put as much content there as possible from the release. But now that we're in a digital age, they're fine with piecemealing stuff so that they can sell it later or update it for later. It fucking sucks the world, you know, the time that these games are being made in. It's both good and bad. This is one of the bad parts. And the last point, the last note, not the point, note from the 10 mark, you know, like I said, not all of these notes are a complete point. Some of them are 0.5 points or 0.3, or, well, they could be a complete point, and this is one of the points. That a complete point, or close to a complete point, like 0.8 or 0.9. Anyways, the last one is add separate ways. But since it's not already in the game, I expect Capcom will charge a premium for this new story, like a full price DLC expansion of $30 to $50. I expect they will do that. So if it's a paid DLC, I also expect Capcom to expand the hell out of separate ways. And by that I mean half or more the length of the base game. It is hard to measure a length of a game, so let me give you an example. I finished my first playthrough on hardcore difficulty with 24 hours and 12 minutes in total. That's including all my retries from death, the shooting gallery, treasure hunting, exploring, listening to radio calls, completing all blue note and side quests, sneaking around enemies, backtracking, watching cutscenes, watching the map, upgrading weapons, buying weapons, comparing weapons, figuring out the game mechanics, reading text files, complaining about the characters, and just general fighting. I expect separate ways to have a minimum DLC length of at least 12 hours, judging by my first playthrough pace, if I was doing all those things. Another example, which is another easier example, is of the game length is, in the base game, you can get an S rank on hardcore difficulty if you complete the game in under 5 hours and 30 minutes. If this is the case, if you're trying to complete the DLC as fast as possible to get an S rank, then according to my previous statements, I expect the length of separate ways to be on a minimum of 2 hours and 45 minutes. Oh, and if this DLC is happening, please, Cap, please, either inform your Ada voice actress how to sound and act like the real Ada from Resident Evil 4 original, or completely replace the voice actress with someone who sounds and acts like the Ada we all know and love. It is highly, highly, highly unlikely that the second option will happen. Unfortunately, but let us see. So, that is my notes of my good points, the bad points, the weird points, and the 10 marks that I think the game needs or needed to elevate whatever score I'm gonna give it soon into a 10 out of 10 or beyond good from a 10 out of 10. You know, to make a 10 out of 10 better. So, this is the moment you have been waiting for. The final verdict that I will give this game is a 7 out of 10. Why such a low score if everything, if I did speak about it in a positive light in the good part? Well, let me get this straight. Everything from this remake of the game was done better than the original, except for some of the areas that were removed, the censoring, the removing of jokes, and the removing of puns, a more darker, more moody, more serious world, and the biggest slap in the face of them all is its characters, its critical failure. That's why I gave it a 7 out of 10. If it wasn't for the characters alone, this would be a 9 out of 10 in my opinion. But because of the critical failure, it deducted a lot of points from this, in my opinion. Because I hate the majority and the protagonist of these new reimagined characters. Like I said, in a story game, if I don't like the characters, I will not like the story that it's in. You know, you can have an amazing story, all spectacle, a whole lot of wonder and mystery and lore, but if the characters I don't give a shit about, then it translates into I don't give a shit about the world and the story either, because my portal to the world, which are through the characters, are completely botched. They are ruined. My image of everything else in the game gets ruined because of the characters that I am interacting with and that I'm trying to learn about. But the difference is, this game is not the character, not that I want to know who the characters are, because I already know. These characters were in the original all the way back, so I already have a fan base, in my heart of which characters I love and how I like them and how I love them and how I love them to act. And in this one, they majority of them, they completely fucked. That was the biggest slap in the face. That is why I put a critical failure in my notes. If it wasn't for that, I would give this game 8 or a 9. But no, because of the critical failure, I gotta give it a 7. But it is still a good game. Remember, in my scale, 5 out of 10 is meh and average, right? You only get it on a sale, in my opinion, but if you play it, you will have a relatively good time. That's what a 5 out of 10 is. A 6 out of 10, well, you like it better, your time. And a 7 out of 10, well, you're gonna enjoy your time. An 8 out of 10, oh, you really are enthusiastic about this and you really, really love it. And it's amazing. A 9 out of 10, is like, wow, this is astonishing, extremely good, amazing, and all of that. And a 10 out of 10 is a masterpiece that you need to play, in my opinion. So, like I said, everything around the characters, the jokes, the mood, their missing areas, and the censorship, everything around it is improved from the original, and sometimes vastly improved from the original. Like the combat, the movement, the sneaking, the gunplay, and all of that, right? Vastly improved from the original. But the critical failure that warranted me from giving this a 7 out of 10 is its characters. I hate most of them and how they turned out. Especially the protagonist. The one thing that you don't fuck up in your story is the protagonist. But you still fucked it up, Capcom. I wanted to be very clear. Most of these characters, the majority of these characters are not the ones that you love. If you have played the original before. And if you haven't played the original before and you're complaining that I'm comparing it too much to the original and I don't judge it by its own self, like I said in the bat notes, this is a remake. It needs to be compared to the original. There is no such thing as a judge it by itself, because it is adapting and reimagining from a previous work of art. In the original, the characters there were amazing, better, their personalities, their demeanors, their voices, their temperament, their jokes, their everything, their conversations, their dialogues, their character arcs, everything from the characters was done infinitely better in the original than they were done in the remake. That's why it's a catastrophic and critical failure. So, and I am sad because now I need to wait 30 or 40 years for the remake of the Resident Evil 4 franchise, and this was Capcom's chance to win me over in the remake and, reimagine this spark that I had once I played it for the first time, the Resident Evil original, the 4 original. It was the time to spark that love that I had from the original when I first got to loving it. But unfortunately, if you fuck up the characters, who knew that everything else gets fucked up when you fuck up the main thing that you shouldn't fuck up, which was the characters. That was the major catastrophic failure of this remake. Most of it, like 95% of the things were improved, but the other 5% that include the jokes, the voices, the characters, the censorship and the areas and the cutscenes, they were all removed. That 5%, who knew that percent would have influenced me so much and influenced everything else so much that it corrupted the other things that were good about it and then made them worse, and then made them suck, and then made me hate most of the things in there. And when a character was involved in whatever the hell the game provided me with the characters, right? So, yeah, 7 out of 10. Not a bad game. Not a bad game at all by any means, but if you are an original fan, if you played the original, the characters aren't gonna piss you off. If you are a true Resident Evil 4 fan. If you're not a true Resident Evil 4 fan like IGN, which gave this game a 10 out of 10, which it just proves that they are not fans of the Resident Evil, or the reviewer was not a Resident Evil 4 original, did not love it or like it because the characters were done vastly better in the original than they were now. And in my opinion, like I said, if you fuck up the characters, you fuck up many things in the process too. So, yeah. So I recommend for the people that love the original Resident Evil 4, I recommend the game. But I would recommend to, on your second playthrough, on your third playthrough, and whatever, when you're already pissed off at Leon, when you're pissed off at the relationship of Luis and Leon, when you don't like Ashley because she's not what she was before, when you don't like Ada's voice and all of that because most of the characters were, like I said, done worse. So on your second playthrough and whatever, just skip the cutscenes. Maybe lower the voice volume to 0. And you'll have a fun time because the gameplay and the action and the exploring is fun. It's just the characters that fuck it up. And for those of you who have not played the original Resident Evil 4, but played this game, the remake, I urge you to play the original, get a second opinion, and come back, in this video and tell me your comparisons. Because I am pretty sure that you will hate the characters in the remake or not like them, and not like them as you did to the original. You played the remake first and then you go back to the original and then tell me which version is superior. Most of the time it's gonna be the original. Because here Leon is a complete asshole, and in the original he was very, very likable. So, yeah. I recommend this game. For $60? Yes, it's worth $60. So, grab yourself a copy and have fun. Anyways, that is it for this review. 7 out of 10. I'm very sad. I'm very disappointed about the remake, the script, the characters, the character arcs, the story, all of it was written for Capcom all the way back in 2005. That masterpiece of writing and script already existed for many, 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 many years, and all they needed to do was adapt from it. But no, they cut this part, then they cut that part, then they cut that part, they cut that part, pull their own bullshit in it, made it worse, and then you got the Resident Evil 4 remake. Yeah, I'm very sad because now I need to wait 30 or 40 years until another remake comes, and hopefully that one will be faithful to the original. Hopefully. And it will maybe make me like Leon in that one. But this remake ain't it, Chief. I prefer the characters and the story and the voices and the cutscenes and the jokes and the puns from the original more than in the remake. It just makes me sad because this game could have hit it straight out of the park. It could have impressed me so hard and made me love it like I love the original. But unfortunately, no. I do not love this game, the remake. It has its ups, it has its downs, and those downs just happen to be one of the most important pieces of the story in existence, and that is its characters. They decided to fuck it up, and that's a big fuck up. So, that is why this game, in my opinion, it's a 7 out of 10. Because you made me mad. Capcom. And this is the score that I give it. Still a good game. If you want to buy it, if you can buy it, buy it. By all means, it is a very good game. But, like I said, original fans, you will be pissed because of the characters, and the non-original players, after you play this one, play the original. You'll see what I'm getting at. You'll understand what I mean. Anyways, that's it for this review. It's close to 2 hours. A lot of editing needs to be done. But, yeah. I'm on my second episode on Resident Evil 4 Remake. I also made No Send Expectations. I also made No Send Expectations Result. I also made the Let Us See the Micros, shall we? It's a 4-minute video. It's very funny. In my opinion, it was funny to me because I had that idea at the back of my head when I first woke up, and I said, why not do this? And I did it. So, there you go. Anyways, I'm tired. I'm gonna sleep now. And don't worry, I will keep playing more Resident Evil 4 Remake up until I get the S+ ranks. And bet on your ass that I'm going to skip every fucking cutscene because I hate the characters and their relationships with each other. Anyways, thank you everybody so much for watching this review, and I hope to see you on the next one.